So while I've got this door panel removed after repairing the CAN bus wire that was broken and causing my battery to drain, I wanted to just document some of the things about this car that will make it easier the next time I have to go into it. It's really a neat feature that the door panel can be removed and you can work on the outside of the wiring from here without having to be inside the car. And I'm interested in this handle here. I think they call it the carrier, but I'm not sure. It has a little purple O-ring here that holds it in place. I can remove the O-ring there, and this piece just slides right out. And this is the little cable, the door release. When you pull it, it opens the door. And so I was interested in looking at how this handle fits in here. It's a certain way it goes. When it's in the door, there's a screw here that holds to the door panel. But when you want to insert the door handle, you put it in, and then there's a wide spot here. You have to push that in and clear it, and then go in like that. And it's real simple. And when it goes in like that, you push it until it goes in, and it's also clicking right here on this end. It's kind of hard to show. I'll turn it around this way this time so you can see. So I remember it being a little tricky the last time I did that, but there's a certain way you hold it, and it's effortless. And the way it is, like you push it forward and then it just clicks right out. But of course, when the handle's in the car, this piece right here, this cable is stuck in there. There's little serration edges that catch it, and so you'll pull it tight, and then that when you pull the handle, it actually pulls the door release. And then this piece here, this screw, this is the T20 torque screw that you turn, I think it was 20 times. And so I was interested in how that does that. So I'm not sure how that. Oh, I see. Let's see what's going on here now. This screw actually rotates this cam, and this cam lever is actually what locks this lock in place. You can see right here there's a screw. This big head of the screw is actually, as it goes in, it's rotating the cam. I can show you. So when it rotates the cam, it's actually locking it into place. And also, it's also important to have this pulled in, because I realized as soon as I started turning the cam, it released this spring here. So that's why they tell you to hold the handle fully open. So you can see as I'm turning it, it's rotating this piece here, locking the cylinder into this mechanism. And it also allows this to free up and be sprung free. And so when you're removing it, they say to pull the handle out fully, which would push it back down there. And then when I loosen the screw, it's moving that cam. And also, when it gets out that far, it actually catches the cam. It catches this piece, and it will no longer let it spring back. And then it also allows this piece here to come out. So with the screw all the way screwed in, it allows this lever to be released. And then so I'm going to hold it back again and turn it. They say to rotate it 20 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think actually it's 12. Because on the 12th turn, she just drops right out. So I wanted to take a closer look at this Volkswagen latch assembly. I removed it from the car so I could look at it on the bench. I've rotated this out to 12 turns that they specify, and when you get it to the 12 turns, it allows this to free up. This lock cylinder can then pull out. So what's going on here is this screw here is basically just, the head of that screw is actually just rotating this ring here. And this ring is doing two things. It's, when it gets out to a certain point here, it captures this spring return here, right in that point right there. And it holds the handle open. And it also, when it cams around, it also comes into an alignment where it allows this lock cylinder to release. And it's real important that you rotate it exactly 12 turns. If you rotate it even more, you'll get it out of position and you won't be able to get the lock cylinder out, and it'll be kind of an issue. So it's real careful. You have to be real careful to count that to get it exactly 12. And the way I do it is I'll find some reference point on my screwdriver handle, and so I can count each time it rotates around and keep up with it. So it's real important that you do 12 rotations. And so I'll show you here, I'm going to rotate it back into as if I was going to install it. And when you're installing it in, I guess you don't need to count. You just rotate it in until it stops turning. And you don't have to turn it. Once it stops turning, you don't have to tighten it very hard, because it's not a fastener. It's not holding like a typical fastener would. It's basically just it's being used as an actuator to rotate this ring. And so you can see it also allowed the spring return to be free. So here's the handle for the Volkswagen. It has a little pivot point here that actually coincides with this point here. You can see it's got a wear mark on it. And when you insert this, there'll be a square hole right here, and there's an opening right here where a screw goes in and holds this in place onto the front of the door panel. And so what you'll do is slide the handle in there into the hole. And then there's a wide spot here. There's two lobes. And what you have to do is push that in past where it clears while you're pulling back on this area. And it'll just slide right into place really, really easily. And so it's real important to know that it'll be really easy when you have it right. So at this point, I'm going to install this carrier back onto the door and get ready to button this door up. I've repaired the parasitic drain. So this is the cable that releases the door. That goes right in this hole here. And there's two little ears here that go in these slots. So you guide those in place. And then there's another slot here. And this little purple O-ring is the only thing that kind of holds it all in place. And then, so after I put the panel on, there'll be a screw that holds right here. And also, there's a hole here where this goes into and actuates that screw that locks the lever. So for now, so I've got that in place. Now I can put in the panel and put in all those Torx fasteners. So there's three styles of screws used on the door panel. There's these two have heavy washers. One of them is short and this one's longer. And the other one is a long screw without a heavy washer. And so this is a diagram that shows where the three different screws are used. And what I can see is this long screw with the heavy head is used here on the inside jamb. and all the other ones are short screws with washers. And then along the bottom are the long screws with no washer. And then on the other inside of the door, it is the short screw with washer. And then at the top is the long screw with no washer. And so these are the three screws. This one is the long one with a small washer. This one's a short one with a heavy washer. And this one here is a long one with a heavy washer. So it's kind of important to pay attention to where the screws go. I think especially because these screws on the inner jamb, if you use a long washer, it could tend to punch in and make an indent on the outside of the door panel. But I think these other ones with the heavy washers are probably more for safety reasons. So my next move is to install the handle here. First I want to start with this Torx 20 screw that holds this carrier assembly. So I can see the screw back there, I can just line that up. And it's convenient this is a T20 because it's also the same Torx 20 is going to be needed to adjust this backside here. And so now I'm going to go ahead and install this. There's a little rubber flapper that now needs to be held. And so that goes in nicely. And then the next thing to do is, while I'm holding it out, I'm going to install this lever here. It clicks in. So I want to test that properly. I think that might be what's up. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back in and run this screw in. I want to make sure that's fully seated in there. This is, they kind of have to go in at an angle. So I've got the door latch installed and working pretty well. Pretty good. I also added a little bit of silicone grease to it. So now I'm going to install this trim piece that just covers up all these screw holes here. And it just pops into place. And that's it. The door is completely back together again and ready to go.